So when we say Unmanned Air Systems, or UAS for short, we're referring to an aviation innovation that combines an UAV, or drones, with its associated control systems.
We see unmanned air systems as fantastic technology platforms which help people to collect data. Predominantly it could be images, it could be videos, and that could be to help make things a little bit safer. For example, in the oil and gas industry, it could also be helping to inspect buildings at places that are hard to reach. You might also help organisations with search and rescue if you're using thermal images. Additionally, in the agritech world, you could apply a payload to the drone for things like fertilisation of crops.
There are many benefits associated with UAS technologies. This is because you can apply UAS technologies across a vast number of sectors, anything from energy to transport to healthcare to climate and land use. And all of these sectors can contribute towards sustainable development goals. So if you look at UAS technologies, for example, it has the ability to help us gather vast amount of information about the land that we're using for agriculture, as well as its characteristics. Which means if you combine this with, for example, technologies like precision farming, you can then create farming output that is both efficient and sustainable.
More recently, we've seen drones being used in the trial delivery of products such as COVID-19 tests, which have been perfect for people in remote locations that perhaps can't access that because there's no hospital nearby or something like that. Internationally, we've also seen examples of drones being used to deliver medicine in locations where the infrastructure just isn't there. For example, emergency blood supplies in locations in Africa where there isn't any available road infrastructure to get from A to B.
What is also really exciting about UAS technologies is you can combine it with a lot of other innovative technologies to create a whole new stack of technologies that we haven't seen before. So for example, when it comes to nature-based carbon credits, what you can do is use UAS imagery, and you combine that with diagnostics technology as well as verification technology, for example, blockchain. And then what you can then do is ensure that the buyers who are buying these carbon credits actually know where the credits are coming from. There are some risks and disadvantages associated with UAS technologies. For example, UAS technologies are not always very accessible because it is expensive. The reason it's expensive is because you do need a specialist skill set in order to design it, manufacture it, operate, and maintain it. So it's not always accessible for everyone. On top of that, UAS technologies are being deployed in many sectors, but often they're still at an early stage. So it is being deployed as a pilot or a demonstration or in pre-commercial stages. The result of this is some of these technologies are still risky, and therefore investments are not pouring into it.
Because drones fly at quite a low altitude, there's often a bad public perception around the noise pollution that they can create, particularly if it's a particular quiet area, maybe a rural countryside. Another one of the disadvantages is generally the materials that sometimes are used with drones, and companies should look to do things that are more sustainable in terms of the pollution that they could cause generating and maintaining some of those drones.
Regulation for UAS technologies can often be opaque or highly complicated or sometimes even very conservative. That means for innovators and businesses that are innovating UAS technologies, they're not always certain that their ideas will eventually come into the market. That means if regulations are uncertain, there is a chilling effect on innovation and investment.
So there's two key points that governments and organisations can do to really help drones unlock their potential. The first one is to work collectively to unlock new policies which will allow drones to be flown beyond the visual line of sight. At the moment it's a little restrictive in terms of where you can fly for safety reasons, and in order for drones to be flown at a much larger scale and volume, drones need to be flown beyond the visual line of sight of a pilot. And the only way to do that is through collaboration internationally and also to change the current policies and legislation.
Another thing governments and organizations can do in order to fulfill the maximum potential of UAS technologies is to incentivize innovations. An example of this is UNICEF innovations that introduce UAV corridors in many countries. And these UAV corridors are safe and vibrant spaces for governments and businesses to test out their UAS technologies. It also serves as an additional place where you can engage in stakeholder and community engagement, as well as a way for you to educate people and create sensitization programs for UAS technologies. At the moment, you can see UAS technologies being deployed in many sectors, including in remote and rural areas, as well as in developing countries. So for example, in Malawi, UAS technologies are already being used to identify mosquito breeding sites so that we can combat the spread of malaria. And this is being done in a country with limited government resources as well. In addition, there are other examples. UNHCR, as well as local governments, are using UAS technologies to plan relief programs in places where there's a significant number of displacement. This is happening in countries such as Niger, Burkina Faso, and Uganda. In all these examples, the UAS technologies that are being used are already simple and they're affordable.
In summary, unmanned air systems offer amazing benefits to society and could really help promote and drive forward the growth across the Sustainable Development Goals. There are some challenges and risks associated with them, but if organisations and governments work together in a really collaborative way, they can help unlock drone use at a global scale.